Yo, what's going on, everybody? In today's video, we're going to be doing a positional tier list. I feel like with the 2 team affinities now and it being over a month that the game has been out, let's go ahead and do our first positional tier list. So before we get into it though, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Turn those notifications on, and in the comment section below, let me know if you agree with my positional tier list, if you think I missed anybody, and let me know who I did. All right. Also, before we get into it, if again you are struggling to make stubs and want to learn how to make stubs, please contact me on Twitter at pitching_rebel through DM to find out more information about my stub lessons, or also contact me at my email if you don't have Twitter, pitchingrebel1@gmail.com. Again, that's pitchingrebel1@gmail.com. Again, if you want stub lessons, contact me at the 2 places that I just said. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and get into the video. So we're going to start off with starting pitchers and then work our way down into relievers, catchers, so on and so forth. So S tier, these are the 4 guys that I believe are the best pitchers in the game. And could there be another S tier guy? Of course, but we'll talk about it here in a second. Anyways, the S tier guys for me is lighter. The S tier guys for me are lighter, Randy Johnson, John Donaldson, and then Shohei Ohtani. I think those 4 guys are must-haves in the rotation. And then A tier, I did include Andy Pettitte there because somebody has already unlocked him. So due to that, he is in there. Jacob deGrom, the new World Series, or one of the 2 new World Series rewards, is another A tier guy. Paul Skeens, and then Edward Cabrera. For me, the 5th option would either be, once I get there, Pettitte, deGrom, or Skeens. Honestly, it's probably between Pettitte and deGrom for me. If I want to go with Pettitte, that means I would have 4 left-handed starters in my rotation, so maybe I go with deGrom because of that. But then again, Pettitte does have that sinker-cutter combo, and I have faced his gold card. His release point isn't the easiest to pick up. That's what I'm factoring in as well. He doesn't have like a really simple release to pick up. And again, he does have that sinker-cutter combo, so he could be pretty decent. Per 9s aren't terrible either. Over 100 hit per 9 and pitching clutch, good control. So that's something to look out for once people get there. But again, probably going to be a while before, you know, any Pettitte really starts coming out consistently. I don't think he's going to be the first pick or even the second pick for a lot of people. So you got to get to that 1,150,000 before you get to have 3rd choice back. So yeah, and they're non-sellable, so nobody's gonna be able to buy them off the market. So it's probably between deGrom, Skeens, and Cabrera. I would probably lean deGrom, but Skeens isn't bad at all with that sinker cutter combo plus the outlier on the fastball. And then Edward Cabrera, I just don't think he's as good as before. The sinker outlier isn't as hard as it used to be. Back when he was a menace, it was consistently 98 to 101. Now it's more like 96, 97, 98. Just, it doesn't feel the same, honestly. B tier pitchers, though, you got Babe Ruth, Valenzuela, Corbin Burns. I could have thrown him in the A tier. However, my biggest problem with Corbin Burns is currently, due to the way that he brings the ball into his glove, you can pick up the pitches, or he tips his pitches. As long as you're looking at when he brings the ball into the glove, you can pick up the pitches based off the finger positioning that he has. You know, if it's his fingers are tight, it's probably going to be a cutter, slider, or curveball. You can see the circle change with the 3 fingers, and the sinker's 2 fingers, and it's a little bit separated as opposed to the other how the cutter, slider, and the curveball looks. So again, that kind of throws him off for me. Plus that 86 or mid-80s clutch isn't the greatest with people on. Yes, his hit per 9 is good, but again, knowing what pitch is coming for the most part, as long as you continuously pay attention to it, that's definitely, and a lot of people are going to know that it's not tough to pick up. So that's why he's not in the A tier for me. Verlander doesn't have outlier. Kyle Harrison, only 4 pitches. Soroka has a nice little pitch mix, sinker cutter combo, but doesn't throw very hard. And per 9s aren't the greatest. J.R. Richard only has 4 pitch mix. Yes, he has outlier on the fastball, but he throws everything pretty much the same speed. Pedro, he does have higher hit per 9 and clutch at the moment. He has one of the best in the game, but I feel like he's just not hard to pick up. And then Andrew Painter, a not bad card at all, but he doesn't have outlier on the fastball, and the per 9s aren't the greatest. Then C tier, Shane Bieber, Mick Abel, Noble Meyer, and Ronel Blanco. These guys just don't have a very good pitch mix, and their per nines aren't even that good either. So that's why they're in the C tier. If I missed out on any other pitchers, I think these are the most important ones. This is why I had them there. Sure, there's a lot more starting pitchers, but in my opinion, these are the most important ones. So we're gonna move on to the relievers now. All right, so now we have the relievers. S tier, the guys that I think need to be in your bullpen. You got Aaron Bummer and Ottavino. I think those two guys are definitely need to be in your bullpen. If you haven't reached Raleigh, then obviously this doesn't apply to you. But once you do, I think he needs to be in your bullpen. Sinker, slider, four-seam, forkballs. That forkball is tough to pick up, or not tough to pick up, but a lot of people don't time it up very well because of how slow it is. And he has really good control, so you can dot up, most of his pitches, especially his sliders. And we know that sliders are broken in the game. If you're consistently throwing that for dots, righty on righty, it's going to be tough to hit him for sure. Baruki, I think he's a really good left-handed reliever, sinker, sweeper, slider, and changeup. As long as you can be decent with his pinpoint, it's kind of hard to do it with him. He's a little bit quicker to release, so you have to remember that. I think he can be pretty good, or he's really good, especially because his pars aren't the biggest at all. And then Evan Phillips is the other S-tier guy for me. Those 5 guys I think need to be in your bullpen. Then you could pick from the A tier that I got. Rob Dibble, could I have put him in the S tier? Absolutely, especially with the sliders being broken this year. But I feel like we've seen Dibble so much throughout the years that it ain't hard to pick him up anymore. Sir Anthony, good hit per 9, has a nice slider. Again, that slider is broken righty on righty, and there's not very many switch hitters right now in the game. So Sir Anthony is a good option. Leclerc, another one like that with the slider sinker combo. Andrew Miller, he only has 3-pitch combo, and he's kind of tough to control with a pinpoint. So that's why I have him in the A tier. Billy Wagner is a surprising one, but he has really good hit per 9 and clutch, making the PCI really small right now because, we have guys that aren't the best of hitters as of yet. So I think he's still very viable. Jason Foley, 3-pitch combo, only outlier sinker, slider, circle change. Raisel Iglesias, Daniel Bard, Felix Bautista, and then Emmanuel Clase. Those guys are my A tier guys. You can choose from that and put them in your bullpen. Then you got your B tier in Brian Abreu. He doesn't have outlier on the 4-seam, so not going to be in my A tier because of that. Tyler Matzek, Drew Pomerantz. They have pretty decent pitch mix, just not great per 9s. You got Joe Kelly, John Franco, Taylor Rogers, Gagne, and then Kenley. Kenley only has a 3-pitch mix, and it's only cutter, slider, 2-seam, not even a sinker. Just doesn't do it for me at all, even though his per 9s are good. Gagne has good per 9s, but he doesn't have an outlier on his 4-seam. He's very, very readable. John Franco just doesn't throw hard enough. Yeah, the screwball can mess you up a little bit. He has good per 9s and whatnot, but I mean, he's not going to blow you away with anything. So you have time to read his pitches. C tier, Daniel Hudson, Dennis Eckersley. I mean, Eck does have a little bit of funkier release, but we've seen him so much already. And he only throws a slider, sinker, 4-seam, I'm pretty sure. Maybe he throws a curveball as well, but he doesn't throw a changeup or anything like that. So if he had a changeup, could be a lot better, but he doesn't. And then D tier for me is Matsui, Andres Munoz, Rob Nen, and Liam Hendricks. Those are guys that I wouldn't even consider putting in my bullpen. So that's gonna do it for the pitchers. Now we move on to position players. We'll start off with catchers, S tier. These are the 3 best catchers in the game, in my opinion. You got Piazza, Joe Torre, and Mitch Garver. All of them have pretty damn good attributes, especially if you use the Arenado boost. All 3 of them get the Arenado boost. I think Piazza is the best catcher, and it isn't close because he has great contact numbers, great clutch, and good power. Torre with the Arenado boost makes him very, very viable, giving him that power boost against lefties, which is what he needs. And he's going to have max contact and max clutch once you do use that boost. And then Garver has nice power numbers and pretty good contact and clutch without a boost, and then with the boost makes him even better. So I think those are the 3 best catchers. A tier, Joe Mauer, he can also get the Arenado boost. Or no, he doesn't get the Arenado boost, I don't believe. Maybe he does, I'm not 100% sure, but if he did, that would actually help him. But I truly don't think he does. I have to relook at his card, but I know his power versus lefties is awful, so that doesn't matter anyway. That's why he's not S tier for me. If he had more power, like viable power, like maybe 70 something power against lefties, then he would be in the S tier. But because his power is in the low 50s, it's just not viable in my opinion. Then you have Kirk and Napoli. Napoli doesn't move into the S tier for me because his contact numbers and clutch aren't the greatest. Yes, his power is insane and it can be maxed out with the Buxton boost, but again, he doesn't get the Arenado boost, so his contact numbers and clutch can't be boosted. And you know, playing on higher difficulties for me, I'd rather use the top 3 guys. Then the B tier is Ethan Salas, Will Smith, James McCann. C tier, Jansen and Darno, and then D tier is Jefferson Caro and then Johnny Bench is D tier. All those from B below, I'm not even considering using those guys, honestly. Maybe Will Smith because he does have a good swing, and McCann isn't terrible, but I'm just not using those guys. I'm going to use the guys from A tier and above, honestly. All right, that does it for the catchers. Now we move on to the first baseman. I only have one first baseman in the S tier. That's going to be Babe Ruth. All the other first basemen just don't stick out to me to a point where they're going to be S tier. So that's why we have a bunch of A tier guys, because Babe Ruth is the only first baseman at the moment that really sticks out to me. But Joe Torre, Rafael Palmeiro, Adam Dunn, JD Davis, Castellanos, Gurriel, and then Candelario, all very viable options at first base, especially if you use the Arenado boost. 4 of those 7 guys, the first 4 in Torre, Palmeiro, Dunn, and JD Davis all get the Arenado boost. So that helps out a lot. Moving on to the B tier, Freddie Freeman could be A tier if he had more power against righties, but he just doesn't have that power against righties. Xavier Isaac, Josh Bell, man, that was one guy I was really hoping would get the Arenado boost, because if he did, he would be very damn good. Not saying that he's bad right now, but with the Arenado boost would make him definitely an A tier guy in my opinion. But he has that 48 speed, just a little bit too much for the Arenado boost. Meneses, Jim Thome also gets the Arenado boost. Ryan McMahon and then Brandon Drury, all B tier first basemen for me. C tier, we got Will Smith, Michael Bush, Vogelback, Vladdy Jr., Richie Sexton, and then D tier for me are Buck O'Neil and Willie McCovey. Now, obviously, some of these guys are not primary first basemen, but you know, we're using guys that can play first base. All right, moving on to the next is going to be second baseman, and S tier for me are going to be Corey Seager and Ian Happ. Those are the 2 guys that stick out above everybody else, in my opinion. A tier, you got Michael Young, Mookie Betts, Alfonso Soriano, Ryan Sandberg, and Brandon Drury. And then B tier, we got Baez, Polanco, Matt Shaw, Jackie Robinson. Jackie has some nice contact and clutch numbers, just his power against righties is not good at all. Turner, Aurelvis Martinez, Xander Bogaerts, and Roderick Arias. Those are the B tier guys. Arias can get the Buxton boost. Turner can get the Arenado boost. So that's a good help there. And then Acuna's brother, Luis Angel, he's going to be C tier for me. His attributes are just not good in my opinion. Moving on to shortstops, S tier. I included Jimmy Rollins there because somebody already has him, so he is definitely S tier, and for me, he is by far the best shortstop in the game. I mean, he's, you know, 99 overall shortstop, so yeah, he should be that good, and he is. Then you got, but the other S tier guys that don't include, obviously, Jimmy Rollins are going to be Ernie Banks, Rich Aurelia, and Corey Seager. A tier for me, Michael Young, Correa. I was really tempted to put Correa in the S tier just because of how good he is for me and how good I've been with him. He does have decent, you know, good contact versus right, max contact versus left, good power numbers, you know, good enough power numbers, not the greatest, but good enough, and then pretty good clutch as well. So, you know, for me, he's an S tier, but overall, I'm sure that the consensus would be he would be A tier, so that's why I put him there. Trevor Story, A tier as well. Mookie Betts, Brandon Drury, and then O'Neal Cruz, all A tier. B tier, you got Matt Shaw, Jackie Robinson, Turner, Roderick Arias, Aurelvis Martinez, Jacob Wilson, and then C tier are going to be Baez and Luis Angel Acuna. So that's all the tiers for the shortstops. Moving on to third baseman. S tier for me is going to be Torre, Nick Castellanos. I don't know why I have Torre there twice, but he's there twice. That's how much of S tier he is. No, I'm just kidding, but he is S tier in my opinion. Eddie Matthews. I have Arenado there, as you're seeing, because a lot of people are using him obviously because of boost. And honestly, is he an S tier third baseman even with the boost? No. But because the fact that, you know, he's pretty good with the boost, and then using him, or because of the boost he gives to other players, and a lot of guys are using it. That's why he classifies as an S tier guy for me, because there's only 4 captains right now, 2 hitter captains. I mean, yes, you have the other, the team captains or whatnot, but that people are using like they did last year, like Cal Ripken or Jimmy Rollins boost or whatnot. Arenado's and Buxton are that at the moment. So that's why he's S tier for me. Because you do have to use him this year for 6 innings at least. Unlike last year, you can just take him out right away. This year, you actually have to use him. So that's what does it for me. Ian Happ, another S tier. I think he belongs in the S tier for third base. For people that you could use at third base, obviously he's a primary center fielder, but you could use him at third because he's a secondary there. A tier, Drury, Michael Young, Kyle Seager. Yeah, I'm not putting him in the S tier because he's just not. His attributes aren't, for a 97 overall, he should have better hitting attributes than all those S tier guys, and he doesn't. So he's an A tier. Justin Turner, missing Candelario there. He would be A tier. I don't know why I didn't put Candelario in this one, but he's definitely A tier. I'm sure I'm missing a couple others, but Berger and then Aurelvis Martinez would be the B tier side for me. Definitely a smaller list, so I'm probably missing a few guys, but again, I covered Candelario. I would consider him an A tier. But besides not having Candelario, all these other guys would be the guys that I'd think about using. And then last but not least, outfield. We're not going to go by position. We're just doing outfielders in general. I put Larry Walker in the S tier because, again, someone's already got him. But if you don't, obviously, if you want to not have him, not a lot of people have him. If more than, you can count on your fingers have him, I'd be very surprised. But so he is an S tier. Obviously, we know that. But we're going to just talk about the guys that are definitely readily available right now. Ryan Braun, for me, S tier for sure. Honestly, he probably has the best right-handed hitting attributes in the game at the moment. Without any parallels, plus he doesn't get a boost. He's definitely the best right-handed hitter in the game, in my opinion. Nick Castellanos, S tier as well. Very good hitting attributes. Doesn't get a boost or anything, but a guy that doesn't have the boost, definitely him there. Mike Trout, of course. He can get the Buxton boost, and his swing is still elite. Has good hitting attributes as well. Babe Ruth, obviously we know he is going to be S tier. Fielding wise, not going to be the greatest out there, but at the moment we don't have that many great fielders anyway. So Babe Ruth easily S tier. And then Yordan Alvarez, S tier for sure as well. Jarren Duran, A tier. I could have put him in the S tier because his hitting attributes are actually really good. Upper 90s contact and power versus right, over 110 contact versus left, high 70s power versus left. Clutch is close to that 110 mark. I think it's like 105 or 106 without any parallels. Not the greatest of fielding. He's like high bronze, but he does have very good reaction and good speed, which would make up for it. I almost am talking myself into being the fact that Duran should be an S tier. He's like borderline S tier, if not S tier, honestly. Mike Cameron, he could have been S tier for me, and he probably should be, honestly, at the moment. Hitting attributes aren't bad at all. Low 90s contact and power versus right, low 100s contact and power versus left without any parallels. Low 90s clutch as well. Good speed, very good defense. He should probably be S tier at the moment. He should definitely be S tier. So we're gonna go ahead and bump. Honestly, we're gonna bump Duran. I know it says A tier here, but for me, after talking about both of them, I'm gonna go ahead and bump Duran and Cameron into the S tier at the moment. Obviously, we have other cards that come out, and that could easily bump them back down to A tier. But for the moment, I would say they're A tier with what everything's out right now. Eddie Matthews, that's another guy I didn't talk. I don't know why I didn't put him in the third base one, honestly. Oh no, I did. He is S. Okay. All right, back to Eddie Matthews. Eddie Matthews, A tier as an outfielder. I just don't think he's better than the guys on the S tier plus the other 2 guys in front of him. So that's why I would put him in the A tier. Same thing with Yelich, Judge, Bernie Williams. I put Buxton in the A tier, even though his attributes aren't the greatest. But again, a lot of people are using the boost. So I'm going to factor that in as well, the fact that he can give others a boost. I'm going to go ahead and give him an A tier, not S tier, because I don't think, can you use the boost on upper levels? Absolutely, and people do use it. I personally don't like, I wouldn't use it because he only gives power, fielding, and speed. Doesn't give that clutch a boost, doesn't give any of the contact attributes a boost. And again, you're going to be using guys with under 60 vision with him. So a lot of those guys are not going to have good contact numbers and good clutch either. So that's why I would say he's A tier, not S tier like Arenado. Juan Soto, McCutchen, Charlie Blackmon. You guys know about Charlie. I love me some Charlie Blackmon. And honestly, I do think he's the A tier. Has an elite swing, good attributes, got that max clutch as well. So definitely very good card. Ronald Acuna as well, A tier. And that rounds it up for the A tier. Then we move on to the B tier. Greg Vaughn, he can use the Arenado, or the Buxton boost, I should say. I believe he will. Yeah, he can. And could he be A tier? Absolutely. So for me, fringe A tier. Gurriel as well. Fringe A tier there. The only thing that I wouldn't put him there, the reason being is because his contact and power in the low 80s without any parallels, but he's fringe A tier for sure. Conforto, Billy Williams, Mitch Haniger, Stanton, Mickey Mantle, the new Anthony card, pipeline card for the Red Sox that came out yesterday as a headliner. Stan Musial, Bryce Harper, Chili Davis. That Chili Davis could have been really good if they didn't give him 54 power against lefties. So that's why he's in the B tier. Taylor Trammell, Jason Dominguez, Jordan Beck, and Heston Jursted. All B tier for me. Alex Gordon, Wyatt Langford, Jason Bay, Stephen Kwan, Aaron Hicks, Emmanuel Rodriguez, Blake Mitchell, and Tim Salmon. All C tier. And then the D tier are Sedan Rafaela, Hilton Smith, and then Drew Jones. Those are all D tier guys for me. So again, for the outfielders, everybody in the S tier stays there. And then the guys that I'm going to be bumping into the S tier would be Jarren Duran and Mike Cameron. So that's everyone. That's all the way top to bottom. I didn't talk about DHs because you can, DH isn't, there's no really, you can put whoever you want there. So that's just at your discretion. Put your best hit, put your best guy, put your best hitter that couldn't make a position because of either his fielding or, whatever the case may be. Best hitter just goes at DH. Simple as that. That didn't make the field. So anyways, that is the complete tier list for me, from starting pitcher all the way down through the outfielders. Again, did I miss some guys? Probably did. Let me know if I did in the comment section, of course. But I think I was pretty spot on with what's the S tier and A tier guys. Besides missing out on Candelario for third baseman, which I said he would belong in the A tier. Everything else, I don't think I really missed on anything. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope this helps you out, decipher on what you want to use and who to look at if you're looking at buying anybody and whatnot. Again, these are all my opinion. For you, it could be 100% different. Just giving you a little bit of what I'm thinking regarding these players. All right, make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Turn those notifications on, leave a like on the video, and in the comment section below, let me know if you believe this positional tier list will help you. All right, thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you next video. Love y'all.